All right, so let's go over some of the mechanical stuff I've done as far as a few performance things and then the overall plan for what I intend to do with it. When I got it, it was basically stock. The rear shocks, the rear self-leveling suspension had been removed in place of just regular shocks, but all the lines and the pump and all were still there. I went ahead and deleted the self-leveling suspension pump with this plug, which really cleaned up the look, got rid of the reservoir here. I got to get rid of these lines when I do the exhaust, and then I'll get rid of all the components in the back, because apparently that gets in the way of modifying or upgrading a sway bar. So the other mechanical stuff I've done is part preventative and then part me trying to chase down that the rough running hesitation, the problems that I was having. So I did plugs, coil, injectors. None of that fixed anything. And then, I found out about the EHA, which is this component here on the fuel injection system. Apparently it helps to regulate fuel pressure to keep it consistent, and over time they get a little bit lean. So you just need to richen it up a little bit. It's a $400 part, and I have read that even the new ones need to be calibrated. So it took like 15 minutes to calibrate, and it solved all the problems. I was just amazed. I did the over voltage protection relay, which is back here behind the battery. That took just 2 minutes. It's a $20 part. I've read that those things go out almost yearly. The belt started to squeal, so I just went ahead and did all of it. I did the water pump, the tensioner, the hoses, the thermostat, and then I did the AC compressor. It's got an R134 coolant conversion. It works great. I lowered the car on H&R non-SLS springs with Bilstein V8 shocks. It rides tremendous. It's still very comfortable and compliant, yet pretty sporty. It definitely could be stiffer, but I think for now I'm pretty happy. I knew I wanted the R129 Evo 1 wheels, so I found those on eBay. They were in Virginia, and when I went to go get them, the seller actually had a bunch of parts. So I walked away with these new in the box Hella Euro French headlights, and then a NOS grill, which I have stored away as a just in case. I painted the old grill insert to match the body color, which I think just made it look a little bit sportier. And that's pretty much, I think, all I've done performance-wise so far. I've got JC header and exhaust on the way, along with a 19mm rear sway bar. I'll be looking for a 400E W124 front sway bar. As I've told, that's a great street setup. I've got all new control arms, front and rear, on the way, just OE equivalent. I've got a spare M102 engine on the way, 16 valve engine. My dad and I intend to build it ourselves, just a basic build, high compression, 10.5-to-1 pistons and rods, and then some mild upgraded cams to keep the stock valve train. Then I intend to do electronic fuel injection and eventually individual throttle bodies. So hopefully we'll get maybe 200 to 210 horsepower out of this thing, which should just be an absolute monster. I'm going to do Evo 1 flares, wing, front lip, and I intend to do that work myself. And that kind of leads me to really the whole attention of this car. With the Z that I built and my E38, I had gotten so obsessed with attention to detail that I farmed out the hard stuff to people that I just knew were more talented than me. I just wanted everything to be perfect, and I knew I didn't have the capability. So this car is a return to working on everything myself. And so far I've done everything except for a few little electrical issues to get the AC working correctly. I did have to take it to a shop for that. But other than that, I've done everything myself, and it's just been an absolute pleasure. So that's the intention for the whole car, is to just really build it myself. And just have fun with it. And really, I want it to be a driver. I'm not worried about it being perfect, so it actually is more enjoyable that way. And, whenever they're perfect, you just really worry about them. So just want to focus on having the ultimate street, daily drivable 190E. Let's take a look at the interior. So here's the delamination that happens. It's here, and then you can see it on the top here. It's pretty common. Dashes hold up pretty well in these cars. This trim piece is cracked here, so is the other side. It's really hard to find. I'm still working on it. Lap timers never work. Got this funky little aftermarket you know, OEM look-alike head unit with Bluetooth. It works decent. It has some glitches. I'm probably going to replace that at some point. Love the dog leg shifter. And just the way this thing shifts in general, it is just awesome. I can't imagine what it's going to be like with a short shift kit, and I do intend to do that at some point. And I've got a Momo smaller steering wheel on the way too. The rest of it's just stock and in really good shape. Headliner holds up good. Rear Recaro seats. So, you know, that's pretty much a good overview of the car. The things to look out for on these things, as I mentioned: hesitation, just hard start, poor idle, stalling. The AC very rarely works on these cars. The window regulators are funky. And then really, from what I've gathered, a lot of these things rust out. So if you look in the trunk and look along the jack points, you know, you got to look for signs of rust. And I think that's really the main things. So if you guys got any questions or anything, let me know, and I will try to update, do maybe a before and after exhaust video and maybe some install pictures and what have you. So I'll try to keep updating. Thanks for your time.